unbelievable.
Coming up, we'll have a recap of the previous Padres game, a preview of today's starting pitching matchup, our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Mike Shildt.
Ultimately, what we're here to do is win.
From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Today, the Padres take on the San Francisco Giants in the second game of a three-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for the Giants, left-hander Robbie Ray, and for the Padres, left-hander Nestor Cortes. Hi, good everyone. Sam Levitt with you from inside our San Diego studios. First pitch coming up at 6:45. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we have a lot to do. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We'll hear from Padres infielder Jose Iglesias in the lineup today, and also earlier today, Candelita, the musician, also known as Jose Iglesias, announcing a concert coming to Petco Park. So we'll hear from Jose on all of that. We'll also hear from Padres radio voice Jesse Agler coming up in just a little bit. But first, it's time to set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971, with 3 locations, La Mesa Vista and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Padres come into today's game 67-52. They've won 12 of their last 15 games, and today they go for a 5th consecutive series win. Padres enter today just 1 game out of first place in the National League West, behind the LA Dodgers. Meanwhile, the Giants come in 59-60. They're 4.5 games out of a wild card spot entering today. Giants have lost 3 in a row, only 1 run scored in their last 2 games combined. We had the series opener last night in San Francisco. Let's rewind.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
We had a pitcher's duel early on last night. Yu Darvish against Logan Webb, each guy tossing 5 scoreless innings to begin the night. Let's go top 6. Fernando Tatis Jr. hit a leadoff double. Manny Machado drew a 1-out walk. There were still runners on first and second, 2 men away for Jackson Merrill.
Runners lead. Here's the 1-2. Merrill swings, hits it on a line into right field and a base hit. Fernando racing around third. He's going to score. Gilbert gets to it, sends it in. They'll hold Tatis, and Merrill head first into second base. An RBI double as the Padres get the first run of the night on Jackson Merrill's 3rd hit of the game.
That's all the Padres scored in their half of the 6th inning. In the bottom half, Yu Darvish got the first 2 outs, but then it was Rafael Devers.
1-1 to Devers, another hesitation, and the pitch swung on, hit in the air to left center field. Long run, Merrill into the gap, on the move, looking up, gonna go. Rafael Devers, a game-tying home run here in the bottom of the 6th inning. He has heated up here in the month of August, and for Devers, his 23rd home run of the season. It is a big one in this game, as we are tied 1-1.
We had a 1-1 game going top 7. The 7, 8, 9 hitters due up against Webb for the Padres. Gavin Sheets hit a leadoff double. Bryce Johnson pinch ran for Sheets. Jake Cronenworth was next.
Potential go-ahead run-in scoring position with nobody out. And a 1-1 grounded to the right side. That's through the base hit. Johnson being waved on his way. Gilbert's throw to the plate is not in time. And the Pods go back in front on an RBI single by Jake Cronenworth. It's 2-1.
Moments later, it was Freddie Fermin.
First pitch swinging, Freddie Fermin towards the left field corner. That is gone! A home run! Fermin put it right over the 339 marker down the left field line. A 2-run shot. Oh, and just like that, the Padres lead it now, 4-1.
Darvish was done after 6. Jeremiah Estrada got the 7th. Mason Miller got the 8th. It was Robert Suarez in the 9th.
Pitch 10 of the at-bat, and Smith swings, hits it in the air to left field. Bryce Johnson coming in. He is there to make the catch, and the ball game is over. Padres come to San Francisco and take game 1, 4-1. Not a lot of drama this time at Oracle Park. And now a couple of eyes will peek over to that out-of-town scoreboard as the Dodgers and Angels play in the bottom of the 8th inning.
And there was good news on that out-of-town scoreboard. Dodgers losing to the Angels, Padres winning in San Francisco, Padres moving just a single game out of first place in the NL West at the end of last night. And now we turn the page to Game 2 of this 3-game series. First pitch coming up at 6:45. Let's go up to the Bay.
Let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Jose Agler in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Jesse, let's start the conversation today by discussing Freddie Fermin. Another big swing yesterday, and I think all things considered, Jesse, he continues to be mighty, mighty impressive in a Padres uniform. Your thoughts on what Freddie Fermin has done so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredibly difficult thing to do, to switch teams mid-season as a catcher. Look, it's not easy or simple for anybody to do it. Ryan O'Hearn, right, just for example, is, having to go through all the life changes, the baseball changes, different league, different pitchers, the whole 9 yards. And, he's a guy who's going to DH, play first base. Maybe they'll stick him out in left field, and it's tough on him. Freddie Fermin has all of that. Plus, oh, by the way, he's got to go out there and learn, 13 different pitchers, their personalities, the way they like to pitch, the pitch comm buttons. I mean, it's really like, it's 10 times as much as anybody else who gets traded. And that's why you don't often see catchers move at the deadline the way you do other guys. It's just an awful lot to handle. So for him to come in and go 10 for 27, at the start of his career at the dish, hit the big home run yesterday, and also work with these pitchers as well as he is a tremendous accomplishment. And it says an awful lot about the kind of guy Freddie Fermin is, because none of this should be taken for granted. It is very, very tough to do what he's doing.
Well, there were rave reviews for Freddie Fermin when the Padres made the move, and to this point, he's been very, very good. Left-hander Nestor Cortes on the mound for the Padres today, making his second start in the brown and gold. He had an up-and-down outing in Arizona, 4 2/3 innings, 2 earned runs given up. Of course, Jesse, the context was he was making his first start in the major leagues in more than 4 months, coming off that elbow flexor strain. But I think, Jesse, he's got potential based on his history when healthy, that he could be a very, very key part of this rotation for the next couple of months. So what do you expect out of Nestor Cortes here tonight?
Yeah, I think, there's still going to be, over the course of the next, 2-3 starts, right? It would be fair to expect that there's going to be some rust shaking that goes on for Nestor as he just tries to find a rhythm. And as you said, it's got really not as much to do with the trade as it has to do with the fact that he hadn't started a game since the first week of April before last week. So, look, if he's healthy and he's kind of doing his thing out there, he's a guy that's he's a pretty good innings eater. And I think that could go a long way for the Padres. If you get into one of those situations where the offense is able to give him an early lead, or if you get into one of those situations where he's just pitching well enough to go 6-7 innings, that's going to help, because it seems like, every other day, if you're able to reset the bullpen a little bit for the Padres, it could be a major benefit to the way they're able to manage the late parts of these games. And, we've seen that in the last couple of weeks since the deadline. You almost have, it feels like, 2 different crews of high leverage relievers, and in an ideal world, you can alternate when you use them. Obviously, sometimes you're going to have guys go back to back. But again, the key to all of this, and the key to the super pen in the regular season, and as you and I have talked about, it'll be different in the playoffs. But the key to the super pen in the regular season is you got to get some length out of your starters, with some regularity. And then if you're able to do that, you can really take full advantage of the unbelievable talent they've got out in the bullpen.
Oh, Yu Darvish providing length yesterday, 6 innings. We'll see if Nestor Cortes can do the same here tonight. Quickly, Jesse, just a couple of thoughts on the Giants. Obviously, they've lost 3 in a row. They're 4.5 games out of a wild card spot, back under 500 after last night's loss. You look at it, they've got Logan Webb, Robbie Ray pitching well at the top of their rotation. Your thoughts on where the Giants are post-deadline?
Yeah, I think, I wouldn't ever say that they're dead in the water for this year, but it kind of looks a little bit like that. I think, they're probably going to start trying to take better look at some of the young guys. You saw Drew Gilbert in right field yesterday. They trade Mike Yastrzemski away. Gilbert comes over in a different deal, and they've kind of plugged him into right field. Not in there tonight against the lefty, but, I would imagine you're going to see a lot of him in the next several weeks. Try and get a sense of who he is, what he is. Do you see a little bit more Devers at first base as he is tonight to get, him as acclimated to that as possible? I think they are pretty much heading towards that. All right, let's see what we have for the future chapter of the season. And you're right. I mean, at the top of the rotation, two guys as good as maybe any in the National League with Webb and with Robbie Ray. But, they just haven't hit the way they hoped they would. I'm sure when they signed Willy Adames this offseason, when they added Devers, early on in the regular season or early-ish in the regular season, they thought that they were going to have a little bit more going offensively. But it's a tricky place to hit, and they have not really been able to do it much. So, I mean, again, they're in it. I hate saying a team is out of it when they're not really out of it. And, the Giants, you never know. They could get hot and go crazy. But I do think that there's going to be a lot of evaluation for the future taking place here. And it's been a tough couple of months for them.
Yeah, interesting situation in San Francisco this season. Jesse, appreciate the time. We'll talk to you and Bob Scanlon coming up at 6:35. As always, thanks so much.
You got it, Sam.
All right, Jose Agler joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for today's game. Again, first pitch coming up at 6:45. We go up to Jesse and Bob at 6:35. A lot to do between now and first pitch. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt coming up in just a little bit. We'll also hear from Jose Iglesias, who is in the lineup today as the DH. And we hear from Jose on a few interesting topics, including his upcoming concert next month at Petco Park at Gallagher Square. So that should be a lot of fun to hear from Jose on that. Our keys to the game, a full breakdown of today's starting pitching matchup between Nestor Cortes and Robbie Ray. Much, much more to do. Padres trying to keep it rolling. They enter the day just one game out of first place in the National League West. Padres, like I said earlier, looking for a fifth consecutive series win. They come into today winners of 12 of their last 15 games. Our pregame coverage continues after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. First pitch coming up at 6:45 in San Francisco. The West Divisional Showdown against San Francisco is presented by Palomar Health, reimagining healthcare. Take a look at the starting lineup today for the Padres. It looks like this. Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field leading off. Luis Ariz at first base batting second. Manny Machado at third base batting third. Xander Bogaerts, the shortstop, batting cleanup. Jackson Merrill in center batting fifth. Ramon Laureano, the left fielder, batting sixth. Jose Iglesias, the DH, batting seventh. Jake Cronenworth at second base batting eighth. And Freddie Fermin behind the plate and batting ninth. Left-hander Nestor Cortez on the mound for the Padres. Left-hander Robbie Ray on the mound for the Giants. Well, as we get ready for today's game, and as the Padres enter today just one game out of first place in the NL West, let's hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Served up by Sin Lee Food, where fresh meets flavor. Find farm fresh produce, bold Asian spices, and gourmet ingredients at 4665 El Cajon Boulevard. Sin Lee Food, the cook's Asian resource.
Nestor, what you're looking for in terms of any changes or working on it. I know in his last outing in Arizona went a little firmer with the cutter after Ruben spoke with him. What do you want to see from him today?
Strikes, controlled counts. You know, his arsenal is his arsenal. How he uses it is going to be relative to what he has that day, what him and Fermin figure out, and then what they're trying to do with the game plan. But ultimately, by controlling counts, hitting your spots.
What do you make of Diaz Fermin tandem and the way they work together? Obviously, Fermin has a lot to learn. What Diaz can impart.
Yeah, I think there's been a nice onboarding across the board for Freddie. You know, the credit goes to Freddie. He's been able to come in. He's the one coming into a new place, and there's an awareness to him coming in new, but he's the one that's having to learn and talk and absorb, and so he's done a really, really nice job. Diaz has done a fantastic job of talking with him, working with him, sharing information with him, talking about the pitchers. And also, being able to relegate some of his playing time to him. So it's been a good teammate.
I'm very aware that you've answered questions similar to this to some extent, but then you're a very day-to-day guy. Right. But the idea that, first place or tie for first place is attainable tonight, how do you view kind of being part of a division race and what that is like?
The same way I viewed it the first day of spring training. There's an expectation for this team to compete for this division and compete for a World Series. And, the day-to-day steps you take allow you to put yourself in a position to do that. And today we're in a position to do it. But nothing's changed because of where we're at. It just actually illuminates how important it is just to take care of things day to day and to be better as we go and then put yourself in the best position as possible. And there's, at least for me, there's peace in that.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt earlier today inside the Padres dugout. We'll hear more from Mike on our post-game coverage coming up later on this evening. First pitch coming up at 6:45 in San Francisco. Jake Cronenworth back at second base tonight for the Padres. He enters today in the midst of a 16-game on-base streak, a .424 on-base percentage in that span, and 11 runs scored. We certainly saw the bottom third of the lineup get it done yesterday. The big home run by Freddie Fermin is first as a Padre. Fermin back in the lineup today for the Padres, doing the catching and batting ninth. Let's take you around the horn.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
Well, Major League Baseball has announced its postseason schedule. The main headlines from earlier today: there will be no more flexing of the World Series start date. For example, last year, Game 1 of the World Series could be moved up if both league championship series ended by a certain date. But without question this year, the World Series will start on October 24th, regardless of how long the championship series go. Game 7 would be on November 1st. So we have a chance with the baseball season ending in November this year. The other really interesting note, and this is something that could be significant for the Padres, hypothetically, the two National League Division Series will have an extra scheduled off day between games 1 and 2, which would allow teams to have the same pitcher start games 1 and 4 and then games 2 and 5 on normal rest. So that's something to keep in mind. Again, long way to go until October, but just a note on a couple of things as far as the postseason schedule goes. Astros put former Padre Josh Hader on the IL earlier today. He's dealing with a strained left shoulder. Astros manager Joe Espada said today that the Astros don't yet know the severity of Hader's injury, but obviously a big loss for the Astros. Hader, an all-star this year. Mets have moved struggling right-hander Frankie Montas to the bullpen. He signed a 2-year, $34 million deal with the Mets this offseason, suffered a strained lat in spring training, has not been particularly good since coming back from the injury. Cubs got some help today. They reinstated catcher Miguel Amaya and pitcher Javier Assad from the 60-day IL. Both had been out with oblique strains. And finally, Orioles pitcher Zach Eflin and Felix Bautista are both done for the season. Eflin needing a lower back procedure, and Bautista is apparently dealing with a significant shoulder injury. And that's a look at headlines from around Major League Baseball today as we get ready for Game 2 of this 3-game series between the Padres and the Giants in San Francisco. When we come back, our keys to today's game, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, and we hear from Jose Iglesias about his upcoming concert at Gallagher Square at Petco Park on September 25th. Yes, Candelita is bringing his musical talents to Gallagher Square. Yes, Jose Iglesias, who you also can see hit at the plate, make great plays in the field. Yes, he is going to be performing as a musician in late September, so we're going to hear from Jose about that and much, much more when we come back on the Padres Radio Network. Hey, Shane. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. EcoWater SoCal, improving your family's water one tap at a time. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. We send things up to Jose Agler and Bob Scanlon in just about 25 minutes. They come your way at 6:35. First pitch in San Francisco at 6:45. Padres looking for a fifth consecutive series win, trying to keep it rolling. Padres entered today winners of 12 of their last 15 games, just a game out of first place in the National League West behind the Dodgers. And oh, by the way, a series in LA looming on Friday. We'll see what the out-of-town scoreboard brings today. Dodgers playing in Anaheim against the Angels. Again, we'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up in just a little bit. We'll also hear from Jose Iglesias in just a couple of minutes. But first, let's take you through today's injury report.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Well, as far as the Padres, one of those situations right now where no news is good news on the injury report. Padres really not dealing with anything major on the roster. We know right-hander Michael King returned this past weekend after dealing with that thoracic nerve issue. But aside from that, really nothing major to report on the injury front for the Padres. That is very good news. The same can't be said for the Giants. They've been missing starting pitcher Landon Roop. He's expected to be activated on Friday and start against the Rays. He's been dealing with an elbow issue. Relief pitcher Eric Miller made a rehab appearance on Friday with AAA Sacramento. He's been dealing with an elbow issue. Gerard Encarnacion expected to be sidelined for a while with a grade 2 right hamstring strain. The Giants also made a move today. They recalled Tyler Fitzgerald from AAA Sacramento. They sent left-hander Carson Wisenhunt down to AAA Sacramento. Fitzgerald, by the way, back in the lineup today for the Giants, playing right field and batting 8th. And there's an interesting 1-2 in that lineup today for San Francisco. We'll get to that a little bit later in our keys to today's game. And that's a look at today's injury report. Quick update on a transaction for the Giants as well, with first pitch coming up at 6:45. Well, Padres infielder and the guy DHing tonight in San Francisco, Jose Iglesias. You probably know this, but in case you don't, he's also known as Candelita, and he's bringing his musical talents to Gallagher Square at Petco Park for a special performance with Mexican band La Adictiva on Thursday, September 25th. A special Live Nation and Padres presale will take place on Wednesday, August 13th from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Fans can get access to the presale code by signing up for Padres newsletters or by following Petco Park and Petco Park events on Instagram. Tickets go on sale to the general public on Thursday, August 14th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. To purchase tickets for this concert, including a performance from Jose Iglesias at Gallagher Square at Petco Park alongside La Adictiva, you can go to padres.com/concerts. Obviously, Iglesias had a lot of his music on display last year with the Mets. OMG, a huge part of that team and what they did, the run they made in the postseason last year. Here was Jose Iglesias earlier today on his upcoming concert at Gallagher Square in September, his life and much more. Really, really good stuff from Jose.
Give me a sense of how excited you might be to perform in San Diego.
You know, every time I get an opportunity to connect, especially with the fan base and just bring good energy around the guys, the city, and it's in life in general, it's a blessing. So I'm extremely excited about this opportunity for that great night on September 25th, sharing stage with La Adictiva. It's another dream come true that I'm looking forward for sure.
We've seen a little of your work when you were with the Mets, but give us an idea what fans can expect when you take the stage.
It's just a guy having fun and just be genuinely like blessing and grateful for each and every day that we get an opportunity to leave. It's a fun to keep my teammates also involved and they're all talking about it and keep that high energy and keep us together. So they're happy about it as well, just like me, and that's the plan, that's the goal.
Candelita, from your father, Candelario, and I know you guys were particularly close in a tough loss for you. I'm sure he's in your heart and head all the time anyway, but in particular, not only when you're on the field, but when you're out there performing as well?
Yeah, I mean, it was my dad was a special human being, and I'm the player I am because of him and all the sacrifice he made. Raising us, putting food on the table back in the day in Cuba. I couldn't ask for a better father. I'm pretty sure whatever he's at, he's very proud of his son.
I'm sure he is. When you defected, your life has taken on a whole different trajectory. You ever think you'd be where you are now, back when you were a teenager trying to put this ambition to practice?
I mean, it's hard to say no. Definitely not. I mean, it was such a long process, right? I was crossing the border just like this with a short and a t-shirt, try to come over to the state and just provide my family, with the things they need, and then just come here and try to play in the big league level. That was my goal. It's a lot of sacrifice involved, and leaving everybody, like your family, friends, right behind me in Cuba, not speaking the language at the time, crossing the border. I mean, we can go on and on for hours, but long story short, extremely blessing just to be here. Extremely blessing to have the family I have. Extremely blessing to lead by example for many others that have also dreams, not just on the field, but off the field as well. So to prove and show that it's possible, there's doable, and I can ask for a better career, a better day, a better moment than everything I've done, and done it with passion, done it with love, and got the support of my teammates.
You got a career that's been wonderful on the field. Opportunities, I'm sure, will be abound for you when your career is done. Maybe it's coaching, maybe it's in the game, maybe not. Music is always, I'm suspecting, going to be a part of your world moving forward.
You know what? I think music lives in all of us, and it will always live in all of us. Whether I'm doing that 100%, God knows, right? Nobody knows. Like my new single, Nadie Sabe Nada. Nobody knows what's going to happen. We're here today. I'm just used the music as a bridge to deliver message, good vibes, and extremely excited about that opportunity as well. But God knows, right? When I'm done playing, God knows. I don't know, but definitely I'll be helping someone. I like to help others. Try to share my experience, everything I've been through, and try to minimize mistakes. So I definitely enjoy help people, and that's something that for sure I'll be doing if I can.
You're working on your baseball all the time, but I know you were talking to me before about you working on your singing. Tell me about how frequently you take lessons and whether you work on instrument play and the whole bit.
Well, I mean, it's I try to get vocals, class once a week. In the day off, it's only an hour, but just to continue to improve my vocals and continue to improve my performance for my fans and the people that that respect and love and like what I'm doing, and which is each and every day is more and more. So thank you for that. Extremely excited for the support. How many people connect with the energy and the honesty of my work, and it's a blessing. It's a dream come true that I'm glad to be doing it.
You play instruments as well?
I'm learning piano as well, but little by little. So we're doing now we got baseball, so I'm and the good thing that I've been able to balance both, and it's a dream come true. Like in days off, I do my singing classes and having fun with it. So and when I'm on the field, it's about prepare, compete, and help this team win the World Series, which is our goal.
How did your love of music develop? How did it come about?
Well, always been in love with music. I become publicly an artist. I would say about a year and a half ago. I decided to, but I've always been involved with music. I've been writing songs for years, going to studios, learning about the industry, but publicly about a year and a half. But music always been with me.
Even when you were a kid, like what?
Yeah, my dad used to love music and always music around the house, and grew up, listening to music. And I have a few artists, friend of mine, and we talk about music, studios, time. So always been around music as well.
How does that help you through a baseball season?
It's in my case, it helped me tremendously. At this point, everybody know baseball is a negative game, right? And sometimes you got to get your mind off of it. When the game is over, a lot of players, they used to carry, what happened in the game towards the hotel, towards your house. And then the one thing that I learned with time, being around the league, is like be able to separate the game one day at a time, and try to kind of turn that page. And definitely music is up there. Every time you find a good melody, every time you get an opportunity to have fun, and it helps you to turn that page and come back with a better energy for the next day.
That was Jose Iglesias inside the Padres clubhouse earlier today. Again, that concert alongside Mexican band La Adictiva on Thursday, September 25th. If you want to get more info about the concert, you can go to padres.com/concerts. Thought that was excellent stuff from inside the clubhouse earlier today with Jose Iglesias. The West Divisional Showdown against San Francisco is presented by Palomar Health, reimagining healthcare. First pitch coming up at 6:45 between the Padres and Giants. Let's give you our keys to today's game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by El Centro Motors Ford. Meet your new Ford General Manager, Greg Ryan, now at El Centro Motors Ford, your new Ford truck, Bronco, and SUV HQ. Call Greg directly at 619-944-0774.
Key number one, keep penning classics. The Padres have won 12 of their last 15 games. In that span, the Padres bullpen has a 1.44 ERA. It should also be no surprise that the Padres pen has been very good against the Giants. A 1.48 ERA in the 7 games against San Francisco. Padres are 5-2 against the Giants this season, and all 7 games have been decided by 3 runs or fewer. With Robbie Ray on the mound for the Giants, there's a real chance this could be yet another close game between these two teams. That means the Padres bullpen needs to continue its good work. So that is key number one. Key number two, keep this Giants offense struggling at home. They got 1 run last night on the Rafael Devers home run. That was it. The Giants have lost 11 of their last 12 games at home. In those 12 games, they've scored just a grand total of 23 runs. That's less than 2 runs per game. They've also been bad with runners in scoring position in that 12-game span at home. They're batting just 128 with runners in scoring position in that span. And here's something crazy. Rafael Devers has 3 solo home runs in the last 4 days, but he is yet to have a hit with a runner in scoring position at home since being acquired by San Francisco. He is 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position at Oracle Park. Worth noting, Devers has 2 home runs and 18 career at-bats against Padres starter Nestor Cortes. That brings us to key number 3. Manny and Ramon against Ray. There are a couple of guys in this Padres lineup that have good numbers against Robbie Ray. One is Ramon Laureano. He's 5 for 9 against him with 2 doubles and a home run. Laureano has been great so far for the Padres. 4 extra base hits, 8 RBIs in his first 10 games with San Diego. Manny Machado also has 3 home runs in 16 at-bats against Robbie Ray. So how do those 2 guys do today against the left-hander and Ray, who's having another really good season? Laureano and Machado, big keys against Robbie Ray today. And that's a look at our keys to today's game with first pitch coming up at 6:45. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We have a few finals already today. Mariners beat the Orioles 1-0 in Baltimore. George Kirby going 7 strong shutout innings in that game for Seattle. Mariners continue to play really, really well. They're now 67-53. Guardians beat the Marlins 4-3 in Cleveland. Reds beat the Phillies 6-1 in Cincinnati. Games going on right now. Yankees beating the Twins 5-1 in New York in the 7th inning. Blue Jays 4, Cubs 1 in Toronto in the 7th. Mets lead the Braves 11-5 in New York in the 7th inning. Tigers and the White Sox in Chicago in the 4th inning. Brewers, and I should say the Tigers and White Sox are scoreless. Brewers and the Pirates in Milwaukee. Brewers leading 6-0 in the 6th inning. Royals and the Nationals in Kansas City. Royals leading 7-2 in the 6th. Rockies leading the Cardinals 2-0 in St. Louis in the 4th inning. Rangers 2, D-backs 1 in Arlington in the 4th. Red Sox leading the Astros 2-0 in Houston in the 4th inning. Games yet to begin aside from this one. Dodgers and the Angels in Anaheim at 6:38. Rays and the A's in Sacramento at 7:05. And that is a look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Tuesday. When we come back, we'll tell you what to watch for in today's game and a full breakdown of today's starting pitching matchup between a couple of southpaws. Nestor Cortes for the Padres, Robbie Ray for the Giants. Our pregame coverage continues after this. I'm Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. First pitch coming up at 6:45 in San Francisco. We send things out to Jesse Agler and Bob Scanlon in less than 10 minutes. Let's tell you what to watch for in tonight's game.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For, presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovementsSD.com.
What to watch for in today's game? Can Jackson Merrill build on his momentum from last night? Jackson had 3 hits and an RBI in last night's game. It was his first 3-hit game since May 12th, and it snapped a 4-game hitless streak. So can Jackson, who collected 3 hits, although one of them was kind of a lucky infield single. However, he collected 3 hits against Logan Webb. That's a tough customer. Can he build on that momentum here tonight against left-hander Robbie Ray? That's what to watch for in today's game. Of course, Jackson back in the lineup today for the Padres, playing center field, and Jackson in that lineup, written by Mike Shildt, is batting 5th. Xander Bogaerts in the cleanup spot today, playing shortstop for the Padres. So that's the way the heart of the lineup looks. Manny, Bogey, and Merrill, 3, 4, 5 for the Padres here tonight. Let's dive into our starting pitching matchup between Nestor Cortes and Robbie Ray.
Let's take a look at who's on the bump today with our starting pitching preview on the Padres Radio Network.
On the mound for the Padres, left-hander Nestor Cortes, 30 years old. He earned the nickname Nasty Nestor in New York. Pitched on Wednesday in Arizona. His first start as a Padre, his first start in the major leagues in more than 4 months. He had been on the IL dealing with an elbow flexor strain. In Arizona, in that first outing as a Padre, he went 4 2/3 innings, 2 earned runs given up, 3 hits, struck out 3, walked 3, a home run, 2 hit by pitches. He threw 76 pitches. Cortes has made 1 career start against the Giants and in San Francisco. That was last June. 4 innings and a third, 3 earned runs given up, 7 hits, 2 home runs allowed. The 2 home runs he gave up, 1 to Elliot Ramos and 1 to Casey Schmidt. And wouldn't you know it, those guys bat 1 and 2 in the Giants lineup tonight. He spent the past 4 seasons with the Yankees, was a really solid pitcher, had lower than a 3.33 ERA in his last 4 seasons combined in New York, traded, or I should say had a 3.33 ERA in his last 4 seasons combined in New York. Remember, he was traded to the Brewers in the offseason in the deal that sent Devin Williams to the Yankees, and then the Brewers traded him to the Padres at the deadline for outfielder Brandon Lockridge. Meanwhile, on the mound for San Francisco, left-hander Robbie Ray, the 33-year-old, is 9-5, a 2.85 ERA, 24 starts, 142 innings, 148 strikeouts, 55 walks, leads the National League. His last start in Pittsburgh, he went 6 innings, 2 earned runs given up on 6 hits. Start prior, he went 7 innings, 1 earned run given up against the Mets. The Giants won both of those games. Ray beat the Padres back in early June. He gave up a 2-run home run to Manny Machado, but that was it. Over 7 really strong innings. He struck out 9. Ray now has a 4.15 ERA in 19 career starts against the Padres. Of course, a ton of those starts coming in the very early part of his career with the D-backs. And that's a look at a couple of lefties going at it today. Robbie Ray for San Francisco and Nestor Cortes taking the mound for his second start in the brown and gold for the Padres here tonight. As always, thank you for listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Your water should be perfect. While the Padres continue to play very, very good baseball, they entered today 67-52. They've won 12 of their last 15 games. A win today or tomorrow would give the Padres a 5th consecutive series win, and the Padres enter today just 1 game out of first place in the NL West behind the Dodgers. Meanwhile, the Giants come in 59-60. They're trying to get things going in the right direction again here in the second half. 4.5 games out of a wild card spot entering the day. Giants have lost 3 in a row, and they've only scored 1 run in their last 2 games combined. We'll see if the Padres can keep that Giants offense struggling here tonight. When we come back, it's Jesse Agler, Bob Scanlon. They have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game coverage. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody.